So what time is there?
Good, I don't know. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for
Good
being
morning.
here.
Hello, everybody.
Good evening, all around the globe, right? And
Oh,
we're let's
mhm.
see. I'm in Princeton, New Jersey, in the outdoors. Where do you guys? Where's Ali and Nelson?
I'm still in Gatlinburg, and I haven't been lucky enough to see a bear, but maybe I will before my Uber gets here.
And
Oh,
it's
here we go.
still dark outside in
It's still
Gatlinburg, but
dark.
in Princeton,
Hello,
it's
Dr.
open.
Kilt. Hello, Dr. Nelson.
Rina,
Hello.
how you
Hi,
Hello,
doing?
Rina.
So
Rina.
great to see you.
Great to see you as well.
Awesome. Let's see. Are you still in Dubai?
I'm in Dubai. I just traveled from Sydney to Kuala Lumpur to Dubai. I do have a bit of a cold. I think I just got something on the airplane or something, but I'm good.
Oh,
You look
beautiful,
good.
beautiful.
You sound
Thank
great
you.
anyway.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you because I've never met you. At least on this thing that we call the internet.
Yes.
But I've been a big fan for a couple of years now.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Nelson. It's lovely to meet you. And yeah, very looking forward to having an amazing conversation about all things carnivore and health.
Yes. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Such
And
a
I'm so
difficult-
happy that my flight I could be here because I said I wasn't going to be here, but now I'm here with you. Yay.
I'm surprised. 6 a.m. for you Eastern. That's pretty good work for a job. Yeah, very good. 6
Well,
a.m.
since we're usually on at 5 a.m. Eastern Time, USA.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
my gosh.
we've changed it. I can change. I'm flexible in this world.
So
Hope
we just
everyone
finished 4 days of Meat Stuff 2025. And
I saw that
Ali
on
and I are
Instagram.
still in Gatlinburg. We're flying out today. Dr. Kilt is in New Jersey right now, visiting Julio with a G. Who's 3
Julia with
months
the G.
old.
My grandson, who's 3 months,
Yeah.
and we had a great evening last night. I brought a big ribeye loin. I brought it for Julio, but he's only getting it through the breast milk from his mom, my beautiful daughter. Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Oh, it is. It's wonderful. And Mira from our meat stock, one of our friends that we met is also came in from Dubai for the meat stock event here in Gatlinburg. So it was really
very, very lovely.
well. Let's get at it, shall we, Rina? Tell us.
Yes, let's do
tell
it.
the universe a little bit about yourself and why a meat-centric diet is the proper human diet.
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you so much, Dr. Kills, for having me on here. It's a pleasure to speak to your community. I started carnivore about 5 years ago, and it was really by accident. Some people have it very intentional that they say, I start carnivore, it's fantastic. For me, it was by accident. I definitely found it through a video by Dr. Ken Berry. I'm sure that many of us have seen the wonderful work of Dr. Ken Berry, and then we've seen, yes, Ken Berry, then Dr. Kiltz, and we have Dr. Baker and all the wonderful carnivore doctors that we have on the internet spreading this wonderful message. For me personally, from a history of eating disorders, over exercising, hormone issues, low thyroid, I started the carnivore diet, started it the wrong way. So doing just the lean meats and just trying to eat more meats and less vegetables. Over time, I found the high-fat carnivore way of life, and that's really suited me. It's fixed all of my health issues. It's fixed my low thyroid, which was going on to be Hashimoto's, but not quite. And yeah, so living a very healthful life and very happy life, eating meat, no vegetables, no plants, still having coffee. Black coffee I do like. But this lifestyle is definitely wonderful and has helped millions of people fix their own health.
And
That's
what
lovely.
have you seen and in the community as you're sharing what you've learned on this crazy meat-based diet, which is completely counter to everything that we've been taught around the globe, I imagine also.
So what have I learned from my whole experience? I've definitely learned a lot. The first thing I would say is that when you go tell people that you're carnivore, brace yourself because you're going to get a lot of comebacks like, are you crazy? How can you just eat all this meat? You're going to get a heart attack. That's the first thing. When you go and socialize and be around people that are not carnivore, they're going to say those different things. But I would say that the main thing that I've learned through my experience over the last 5 years by having my YouTube channel, speaking to the wonderful experts like Dr. Kiltz, is that what we eat is so important to heal chronic disease and also lose weight. It's at the center of our health. If we can fix that, not everybody has to be carnivore. That's another thing that I did realize. Carnivore is so awesome for my health and my own life, but not everybody has to be carnivore. But meat should be the center of every lifestyle. And I think that the way that our healthcare system is, it's away from red meat. It's away from red meat, saturated fat, will help every single one of our health problems in the world.
What is it about meat? And we're all going in and out a little bit. I don't know if what everyone else's internet is like, but it's all good. And we just keep going because universe. What do you think it is about meat that makes it the master's meal?
Well, you do say that ruminant meat is the master's meal, and the good old tomahawk steak or the ribeye is awesome. You know, meat and red meat has every single vitamin and mineral that we need. And we've been taught all these kind of myths around that we need fiber, that we need all this vitamin C and all these different things that people say that we don't get in red meat. But when you eat a carnivore diet that is full of red meat, you're getting every single fat-soluble vitamin that we need for our health. And if you think about fat-soluble vitamins, that's what we need for our hormones, cholesterol, brain health. So when we eat a diet centered on red meat, we're getting every single thing that we need, and it starts from saturated fat, and it starts from cholesterol. If we increase our cholesterol, that's how we actually heal all of these chronic diseases that people have, whether it's gut issues, whether it's Hashimoto's or thyroid issues, brain problems, heart problems. It all comes from a nutrient-dense diet. So quite simply, red meat is the most nutrient-dense food in the world. But the fact is, no one's eating red meat. So why do we have all these health problems?
That's okay. I don't want competition. I'm just kidding. Oh, he went. I think he's outside the house over there.
Okay.
That wasn't a background. That's actually the greenish New Jersey background. And
Well, that's a beautiful house that he has, and the background is awesome. If I was to
Yeah.
show you my background in Dubai, it is about 40 degrees Celsius here. So do that conversion in Fahrenheit. Very, very hot. And
Yeah.
it's a pool and a beach. So
that he's at his daughter's house,
Oh,
visiting
okay.
Julio, the grandson. So literally, he was visiting him. Okay. So just a reminder, please. Your questions for Rina. She's great at answering any questions. So put them in the chat so we can start going through them. And the hashtag is primal for a Kilts Cup. So
For the
Rina,
giveaway.
you mentioned how long have you been carnivore?
5 years.
Okay.
So since August of nearly, so it's nearly 5 years since August of 2020.
Wow.
Okay.
I have a
Yeah.
question
And-
for Rina. I don't know if you touched on this. Sometimes I can't hear when I'm in the chat, if that makes any sense. But did you touch upon your mental health changes? I would love to hear about that and go over that with the audience.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that when people come to carnivore, the two main things that they want is weight loss, to lose weight, and they also want to heal some sort of chronic disease. I think that mental health is something that we don't speak about. 2/3 of the population, and I think in the US, has a mental health issue that is undiagnosed. So when it comes to depression, anxiety, all of these, uneasy feelings that we might have every day, that is also associated with what we eat every day. So for myself personally, I went through decades of anxiety, depression, which was associated with my eating disorder, which was called night eating syndrome. And this is very common, especially with women when they try to be a certain size, they try to undereat, over-exercise. It might lead to eating disordered problems. Then that's associated with mental health issues. So for me personally, I went to see a psychiatrist, a psychologist. They put me on Zoloft and they put me on SSRIs to fix
Wow.
me. And then it doesn't, so that kind of lowered the anxiety, and the anxiety was so bad that I couldn't go outside and socialize. It was just so crippling to that point. So fast forward, I got off the Zoloft, and then I was doing keto, and that kind of helped. But carnivore, for some reason, and I can't explain why, but I just think it's eating a whole lot of fat, a whole lot of red meat, the butter as well. And I think that when you've been under eating for decades, that's what truly helps to fix yes, Dr. Kiltz, yes. And again, that for women to eat a steak, women, I mean, personally, because I have a group that is mostly women and they're trying to be carnivore, but even to have red meat and eat red meat, it's not like a female thing to do. And again, another thing is adding salt, lots of salt. That's not what we're meant to do. 6 a.m. Dr. Kills eating a steak. I thought that you fast.
I do, but we're live. This was dinner last night. And
By the way, go ahead.
And the raw steak and the raw fat is the healthiest thing we can eat with salt. And so I was just showing this because I bought this at Food City in Gatlinburg, and they had amazing meat. And I bought a whole full loin of ribeye to give to my family here. And we were having this at the event. It was so good sharing it. This was dessert, by the way. I made ribeye black and blue as a dessert for everyone, and just passed it around for a little bite of heaven. And tell me what, because I think raw meat is our evolutionary perfect meal. What are your thoughts, Rina?
I know that you feel that way because I've heard you say that. Eat the raw meat. That's how we're meant to be eating it. I'm not there quite yet. I know that my husband makes a steak and he tries to make it a bit raw, but sometimes it's a little bit too raw and he has to cook it more. I just kind of make it simple that eat the meat that you can afford, eat the meat that tastes good. It's better than all the other rubbish that people usually have. So for me, doing the raw meat, not quite there. But if it's like, I think beef tartare or something, quite good, but not something that I could have every day.
I'm curious.
We have some comments here I want to pop up.
Okay.
Robin.
Before you do that, I'm curious, and I don't want to make this political, feminist issue or seem sexist, but you can give me your perspective. Is it more frequent females that are not quite ready to go rare, black and blue or raw? Does it happen more with females than males?
I think so. I think it's just the taste palette. What I've also found with women is just the quantity of food that you have to eat on carnivore. You don't have to eat, but to have all the benefits, a lot of women struggle with that. I mean, I could easily do 6 to 7 eggs with bacon every single morning. A lot of women, at least the ones that I have spoken to, they can do, 3 eggs and just a small amounts of meat. So it could be the texture, the taste, different things associated with eating the quantity of red meat that we need to eat. But some people, I mean, even men, they don't like as much raw meat. It depends on your taste. But Dr. Kiltz loves his raw meat, and that's like what's the quote? Meat, something you say that's amazing.
Meat is the master.
Yeah, meat is the master, and probably raw meat is the master as well.
Well, if you look at Pottinger's Cats, great book, and the cats that ate raw meat and raw milk were healthier than cooked or pasteurized. And I believe we're melting away the fat, we're glycating the cells, we may be damaging the molecules along with the minerals and vitamins potentially. And so if you're not getting the true benefits of carnivore, you may begin to edge into from medium to medium rare to rare, and cut yourself a really beautiful piece of steak, and I put a little bit of salt on it. If you want to dip it in a little bit of butter, go at it, or spread a little butter on it. It's one of those things that we evolved on fatty red meat. That's our evolution. And so, we're waiting for the chef. It's like we're waiting for the food to be served, and everyone's antsy because it's not cooked and done yet, but it already was done when it arrived. So, we had some issues at the meat stock because the food wasn't ready yet, and I say it was ready when it was delivered.
Talk about carnivores being hungry and getting a little bit antsy.
There's a
My
Oh,
wife,
that would be funny.
my wife is an intermittent carnivore. I just thought of that. She's an intermittent. She loves her ribeye and her ribs. The fatty cuts, not a problem. But when they're chunks of fat, she trims them,
I've got
and
I've
then
got
she saves
two,
them for me.
I've got two questions here. One is on Instagram. One is on Kills Mighty Tribe. Let's see.
Analia's had some comments.
Okay,
Yeah.
Shay Marie Ounce 86. Love steak, but I have a question. I'm a heart patient just starting my IVF journey with y'all. Can I still do that? Hold on one second. And Paul Flynn, I need some good input for current health situations. Just had quadruple bypass, all 4 arteries, 90% blocked. I also had my left atrial valve replaced, and with the skin pig's heart, my heart flow was less than 15%. Two aortic arteries, neck 50%, la-di-da-di-da, diverticulitis. Several been severely constipated and have non-diabetic peri or distal something issues in my feet, hands. Thoughts and suggest a new diet started and not start a carnivore. Rina, what do you think is the answer to all of these?
Carnivore, high fat carnivore, and eating ribeye, butter, eggs. And I think that, if people have so many issues, and we see so many people with different issues like heart patients, gut issues, all these different things that people have. And where does it come from? A nutrient poor diet and adjustment. The first thing that you do is happy hormones. You're a heart patient, you have chronic disease, that's the first thing you need. Can you hear me?
Yeah. We keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Because
think
I see a lot of people that are like this, and they just have so many different chronic health issues. And carnivore tends to be the most effective if you can be consistent on it. The most effective protocol if you want to fix chronic issues, but you do have to be consistent. Every single expert that you'll talk to about carnivore is that the number one secret with carnivore is just be damn consistent. So if you want to choose a ribeye and eat a ribeye, eggs, chicken, budget steaks, whatever you can afford, be consistent and eat the fatty cuts of meat. Every single problem that he described will get fixed in time, because that's the role of a nutrient-dense diet.
And one of my favorite books is Christ-Based Teachings by Don Curtis. It's out of print, but I find copies of it. The demons we face in our lives include fear, hostility, inferiority, and guilt, which I found that I lived forever. And carnivore and Christ cleared it up for me. And again, whatever religion you are, but the philosophy of life is powerful. That's why these meetups are great, because we get a lot of positive feedback in this. But it really, what toxins, Rina, are in red meat? Red fatty meat, whether it's ribeye or it's the whatever cut. Is that a zero?
No toxins.
Zero. And I wonder, do you think the toxins in the plants, but we love plants. We cannot live without plants. The planet without plants is Mars or the moon.
Right. Okay, let's take some of these questions. Here we go. So, first question. Robin says she has carnivorous grandma. OMG, Rina, I had the same problem with anxiety. Carnivore has been a game changer. I just wanted to pop that up there. So, Jan Buford, good morning, all. What do you ladies use for your skin? Both of you always have the most beautiful skin. Rina, you first.
Oh, okay. I don't use anything fancy. I just use a plain cleanser and a tallow balm. And then obviously I have a bit of makeup on because I'm recording. But honestly, when I'm not on a camera, I never wear makeup. So if you can avoid wearing makeup, that's always good. But sunshine, if you want to use a tallow balm, that's great. Just clean ingredients. That's all you need. Because again, it's from beef fat. So that's all I use. Nothing fancy. They'll try to sell you products that are $500, $1,000. But if you want the most anti-aging, smooth skin secret, eat carnivore, be in the sun, and move.
Get outside, live outside, right? And so, can you make your own tallow for your skin?
Yeah, we have our own tallow balm. It's called the Primal Tallow Skin and Body Balm. So that was just a plug. But I mean, look,
Yeah,
you can
good.
make it at home,
Sure.
and we also have on our website how to make tallow balms. It's pretty. I mean, it's not easy. There's a process involved. But what I'm trying to say is that skincare, like a nutrient dense diet, it's very simple. If you just eat the right thing, use the right skincare on your skin. Sometimes we actually don't even need skincare. My husband never washes his face. He just washes it with water, and he doesn't even moisturize, and he doesn't use anything. But I think all these products have just been marketed to women, and we just
Right.
spend a fortune on all these different products where we just don't need to. And when you eat actually more saturated fat, and then you drink water as well, your skin is just much softer and less inflammation. And the beauty in face comes from the angles and the angular portion of a face. And when you go carnivore, you lose all that inflammation. So you see these beautiful cheekbones. Dr. Kiltz's cheekbones are right there. You see him? See? You see? That's beauty. Usually when we have like a fuller face due to inflammation, when you're on a lifestyle, that's how you get.
We're all created in a beautiful, beautiful way. And we've been poisoned by the recommendations of a healthy diet, which is hurting us. And what can we all do to help sort of spread the word and encourage ourselves, our brothers, our sisters, our community, and the world to find a carnivore lifestyle?
That's a good question, because on one hand, if you were to tell your next door neighbor or maybe your parent or family member, they might come back at you at something bit negative. But I always say on our community, be the best example of your own health. If you're doing carnivore and you've seen incredible success, people are going to ask you, why do you look so amazing? Why have you lost so much weight? Why do you not have XYZ disease? Be the own example in your own health. That's what I have done. Going back to Australia and seeing my family, although I have a health channel and I am carnivore and I advocate for carnivore, but even they ask me, are you carnivore? Do you just eat meat? Is that like you just don't eat vegetables? So it's strange for people, but then when they see how good you feel, you don't have cravings, you don't binge, you don't overeat, you don't do all these things that people do if they have a carb and sugar roller coaster diet, they want the same thing. But as I said, the main thing is consistency, because that's the number one thing I see why people fail on the carnivore diet.
Consistency, I think you mentioned in all of this. What if I fall off the wagon for a day or two? Should I lose my shirt over it and worry and go like, oh, I can't do this anymore? Or should I just get right back on the wagon to be who I am, which is a lion?
I love that question. I would say, Dr. Kiltz, out of every single person to answer that question, you'd be the best person to answer, because you have all these ups and downs in your life. The main thing, you're going to have ups and downs. It's normal. It's the same thing when you go out and eat, when you go travel, all these things that happen in your life. The main thing is make that commitment in that next meal. That next meal is your choice to have a nutrient-dense diet or to have a nutrient-poor diet. Every single thing that you put in your mouth is a choice of health or a destruction in your health. You choose. A big question I get is, can I have alcohol on a carnivore diet? Well, it's up to you. Do you want to destroy your health? Do you want to accelerate your health? Or do you want to make it a one-time event that you say, okay, I'm doing this as an intentional event, and that's why I do it. The same way that Dr. Kiltz has his baby diet that includes ice cream from time to time.
And you could do it. I just made it with Chris Cook in Nashville, who's awesome. Again, it was eggs, cream, and a little bit of vanilla, and a little bit of salt. Just salt, nothing else. It was amazing. Get this question, Alia, for Rina, please.
Sure. Okay. This is from Kathy, a non-toxic mama, Kathy Accurso PT. Good morning. God morning. Can you talk more about actually getting enough protein on the carnivore diet? I feel that most of my female patients, especially the older ones, don't nearly get enough protein. And I would like to know, what is enough protein then to add to that answer?
Very good question. That is a main thing amongst women, that they probably don't eat enough protein. So when they do carnivore, they tend to go for something that's fatty or something that's like, for example, bacon. But really what you want to do is prioritize the ruminant meats. And to be quite simple, if you prioritize ruminant meats, which is anything coming from a cow, lamb, venison, etc., you're going to get enough protein. And if you eat 2 meals a day, I know that Dr. Kiltz likes his OMAD or fasting. However, what I have found, especially for women, just to get enough protein and enough fat so that they don't crash and they're not kind of craving and starving and doing all the cycling and up and down, is to eat at least 2 meals a day, 2 to 3 meals a day. Prioritize the ruminant meats. In terms of numbers, at least 100 grams of protein. But one of the best things about carnivore is that you don't have to actually calculate numbers and macros and calories. That's for diets. Carnivore is not a diet, although it's called the carnivore diet. It's a way of life and a lifestyle. So at least 100 grams of protein a day. What does that look like? 2 or 3 meals of a good amount of ruminant meat, and you've got your protein.
Excellent. Rina, Kate Sprague, she's from Australia. Hi, Rina.
Oh.
Love your work. Yeah. How many meals do you eat per day? And do you do any fasting? I think you might have just answered that.
Yeah. Well, I personally eat about 2 to 3 meals a day, and it depends. When I was in Sydney, because now I'm in Dubai. So when I was in Sydney, I was having 2 meals a day, typically at around 11 o'clock. And usually my last meal is about 4 or 5 p.m. But then when I incorporated some training and then resistance training, I just found I was a little bit more hungry. Just for myself personally, because I have a history of an eating disorder, more than to eat less and not overfast. So one of the things is that you'll naturally get into a fasting pattern. A really easy way to do fasting is just that typical 16-8. So 16 hours of fasting, an 8-hour eating window. And I like to eat my meals earlier in the day because it's been shown to accelerate fat loss, energy, and actually help you sleep better by not eating late at night, especially for women.
What's
Next
late at
question.
night?
Let's get the questions.
I'm just curious, what's late at night so everybody understands? Like what time is late
What's
at
that?
night?
Okay, so I spoke to Dr. Sachin Panda. So he is a circadian biologist. So he was the one that pioneered time restricted feeding or intermittent fasting. So basically what means late at night is your bedtime. So if you sleep at 9 p.m., you typically don't want to eat 3 to 4 hours before sleep because especially meat, it takes more time to break down. So if your bedtime's at 9 p.m., have your last meal at 5 or 6. If your bedtime's at midnight, have your last meal at 8 or 9 p.m. So that's basically what eating late at night means. But very interestingly, what he did say was that each of your organs, especially the way that it breaks food down, it operates better earlier in the day. So if you eat earlier in the day, you'll be less bloated. That food will actually be utilized better for energy and you'll feel better overall. And that's what I typically see with people.
Excellent. Next question. Brenda McIntyre, do we really need it? Salt, do we really need it?
Oh.
Yes, salt is like the next best thing apart from a ribeye and a steak. Yes, salt is a very important electrolyte that we all need. Again, another thing that people do is perhaps they don't eat enough salt, minimum 5 grams a day. Some people need 7 to 10 grams. Salt, yep, lick the salt as much as possible. You know, salt is a great thing if you actually want to stop cravings. So if you start carnivore and you have a texture that you feel that you're craving, it could be something that's crunchy, it could be something even sweet, grab some salt or a salt rock and suck on that. That's really going to help. Salt also with butter also helps with cravings. And again, I always reference women because that's primarily who I work with, but having enough salt is just so important just to feel satiated between your meals. And I do emphasize for women to have fatty cuts of meat with salt. Very counterintuitive, but please have those two things to feel great energy and to feel satiated.
Wonderful.
Cool.
Cordelia says, Rina is so thorough with her research.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not as thorough. I'm honestly not as thorough as the wonderful doctors that I work with and learn from, like Dr. Kiltz. It is just a pleasure to be able to learn from these bright minds and to share that information to each and every one of you.
We never answered that question when you put it up before, Alia. So if we can
Yeah, I
answer
was
that.
going down the list. It wasn't meant to be put up, but we'll do it now. I was going in sequence. Okay, Robin here and carnivorous grandma. Question: my friend is carnivore, curious, but she's concerned because she has had a kidney transplant. Her doctors say not to eat a lot of meat. Is carnivore safe for her? Does she eat low protein?
So this is another common thing that people hear about myths on a carnivore diet about kidneys and that meat is heavy on the kidneys. It's actually a nutrient poor diet that's highly inflammatory that's going to worsen your kidney function. And in fact, as Dr. Sean Baker says, that red meat can actually help with your kidneys and make them bigger and actually increase your bigger and better and increase your EGFR, which is your glomerular filtration rate. So they thought that red meat was not good for you because of the purines. But when you investigate it further, if you eat a carnivore diet and not have all the other inflammatory stuff, that's what's going to help kidneys. And if you had a kidney transplant, you do need to consult your doctor with the amount of protein that you might be eating. But red meat is not detrimental for your kidneys, and you should be able to eat it quite freely. The things that's really important.
Yeah, context matters, and many of those studies that it's first, there's no conclusive proof that it's damaging, but if there was any damaging effects, it's in the context of a very high carbohydrate diet. There are some studies there. Within the carnivore community, we need more studies, but I don't think it's damaging at all. It's healthy. You eliminate the inflammatory stuff, like you said.
Did the scientists and the doctors really get us in trouble here?
I think so.
Do we need another scientific study to tell us we're right?
I think that's where the issues and the problems are when you have this mixed science, which has so many co-founding variables, and if people understand what that means and how scientific papers are published and all these different things, that's where you get all these mixed messages that red meat is bad for you. Red meat is going to damage the kidneys, when in fact, red meat, as I said, is the most nutrient-dense food in the world. But the problem is what is funded in the diet industry, in the food industry, is processed foods. And this is a big thing with the whole Make America Healthy Again, is that we're trying to get all of these inflammatory foods out of the system and out of the market. But the fact is, it's a $1 billion industry, even $1 trillion industry. So if we understand the messaging and where that's coming from, not to eat red meat and to eat processed foods. And if you eat processed foods, that's going to make you sick and in the medical system. And even as Dr. Kilt says, he doesn't want to see you as a patient. He wants you to be healthy, right? So it is about understanding the myths of the system and how it works. It's a lot driven by profit that I don't think the end consumer quite understands.
And so, do we really need another scientific paper?
I mean, people like that, but I don't think so. I think if you just do...
Science got us into this mess. And now even in the carnivore world, we'll say there need to be more papers, or we want more papers to prove it. But someone else is going to have more money to pour into the profit world of telling you the propaganda that this is bad. And then you're going to be confused when the real power is in these communities like what you're doing.
I have a question for you, Rina. Do we need our doctor's permission to change our diet?
I don't think so. I just went to see my doctor in Australia and I just wanted to check my thyroid markers because I did have low thyroid previously. And I had all the cholesterol and everything done. And then the doctor called me. Obviously, my LDL was higher and my cholesterol numbers were higher, but my vitamin D was amazing. All my other numbers were fine. And then they said, what diet are you eating? I didn't say carnivore. I said keto. Oh, that's really bad. Oh, you shouldn't really eat that. Oh, like animal fat. Don't eat animal fat. It's really bad for you. On what planet could you say that animal fat, which is natural, cows being natural, is bad for you? It does not make sense. And then she was then telling me to have this 5 C's diet. And basically is to avoid dairy, saturated fat, fatty meat, and to eat a lean, heart-healthy diet. I was like,
heart healthy diet. What's that?
Yeah, like legumes, beans. And because I haven't been in that environment, because when I have to get blood work done, I didn't have blood work done for over 2 years, but I forgot what it's like to speak to a stupid doctor. Well, not stupid, but a stupid doctor, traditional doctor that doesn't know anything. And then it made me realize all of these people that are carnivore going to see doctors, they must be like pulling their hair out thinking, because they don't have that confidence to say, get lost. I could say another word,
That's what
but
happened to
they
me.
don't have that confidence to understand what's happening with their blood work. And, if your triglycerides are low and your HDL is high, if you look at particle sizes, if you look at fasting insulin, where are all these markers? But they just want to focus on cholesterol and LDL.
But do we
Right.
need any of these tests?
Well, when we speak to, so some doctors say don't test, some people say do test. I mean, maybe having your blood work done is just a part of a modern society trying to, because what's on your blood work is something that they can sell you a pill for. Because they're not going to have a fasting insulin. You have to actually go and ask for that or pay for it. But every marker on a blood test is something that they have a pill that they can sell you something or be on something for the rest of your life. So it's questionable if you need blood work.
Well, it just gets us in trouble. And the number of damaged diseases secondary to the intervention from a test often makes more trouble than anything. And so ultimately, what's the best medicine we can find? It's going to be fatty meat, right? It's fatty meat, by the way. I believe it's the fat. Remember, when you eat fat, it contains minerals, vitamins, amino acids, simple sugars, and fatty acids. So, and it reduces the inflammation in the gut. Have you found that people have less gut issues, Rina, on a proper human diet?
Yeah, I mean the whole root cause of disease can come from gut issues. If it's leaky gut, if it's celiac, if it's Crohn's disease, all of these chronic issues that we have comes from like a leaky gut or gut issues. And what carnivore does or eating red meat does is that it's like a benign food. It's got all the nutrients and all the minerals that we actually need, but the most important thing is it doesn't have the inflammatory markers that's going to cause permeability in your gut lining. And if you think of your gut lining and it has little holes in it, and that's how anti-nutrients and inflammation occurs, and it goes through those lines and holes. That's what a gut issue is, and that's how it causes inflammation. Gut issues can cause heart disease and heart attacks through going through the vagus nerve and through the portal vein, and then causing inflammation through the whole body. The center of all disease and many diseases is your gut. If you can fix your gut through eating meat, you're going to fix your whole health. And it doesn't mean that you take fiber or any supplement to do that. It comes from meat.
Next question.
Next question in order. I'm doing them in order. Stephanie Boyd. I tried Lion Diet for a few days for knee inflammation. Not sure if it was too much protein, but it caused anxiety and messed up my normally good sleep. Back to higher fat, and sleep is great. Question mark.
So Lion Diet is something that can be a bit too fast for some people. So if you want to start carnivore, we try to say, so we have like 5 levels basically. Carnivore is very easy. You don't need levels, but just to give people some guidance if they're coming from a standard American diet. When you want to start carnivore, eat anything animal-based. If it's processed, not processed, including dairy. When you want to go a bit harder in terms of more restriction, you just want to do that slowly so that you don't have, like, for example, doing Lion Diet, which might be a little bit too extreme. There could be some reasons around that. Maybe you didn't eat enough. Maybe you didn't eat enough fatty cuts of meat. Because maybe for you, Stephanie, eating so much red meat, it's hard to eat enough if it's just red meat. But if you find that you eat, like, for example, eggs, bacon, ribeyes, some chicken thighs or something, it's just easier to eat enough. So focus on eating whole unprocessed foods if you want to lower your knee, the inflammation. Don't maybe do the Lion Diet just yet. I can't do Lion Diet. Like, I eat eggs and bacon every day and beef. So just everyone's on their own journey. But I mean, Lion Diet, I tried it, but I can't stick to it. So.
All right, here's the next question. When we're talking about skincare, what kind of skin cleanser?
I use a CeraVe salicylic acid skin cleanser. It's like 20 Australian dollars. I'd get the cheapest one that you can get because cleanser does nothing to your skin. You actually don't need a cleanser. If you don't wear makeup and you eat a nutrient dense diet, just go out in the sun, splash some water on your face, maybe use a tallow balm, and that's all you need. Because acne or any blemishes or anything on your skin is just inflammation. And that comes from fixing the inside, not the outside. Anything topical that you'll use, and I've used everything. I've tried everything. Anything topical that you'll use will only get skin deep and not actually fix the problem. And you have 7 layers of skin. So to actually get skin deep and to fix something, it does, just eat like a nutrient dense diet. It comes from the food that you eat.
Thank you. Okay. John Garza, as of today, my A1C is down to 5.8 from 15% in January. LDL 98, trig 99, HDL 36, total 153, cortisol 16.7. The end. There's no question.
That's awesome. Well done. Just a hip hip hooray for John. Yay.
And it's that hemoglobin A1C that is really the game changer. And what glycates and causes hemoglobin A1C to go up? Plants.
And by the way, in some of the tests, the equipment and the testing of A1C, 15% might be the maximum that the test allows to read. So who knows how high that was, but it's a great result, don't you think?
Wonderful. Okay, Eve Medworth, have you had any detox symptoms, Rina?
So by detox symptoms, I would assume that it's transitioning to carnivore. Yes, I had like the worst diarrhea imaginable for the first 6 months, but when I was doing carnivore 5, that's bad or that's good. I ate beef, and then after one kind of fixed itself because I lowered the fat or the extra fat, and it was meant that had a lot of like diarrhea, which is completely normal. And the way that you fix that is just to pull back the fat like a little bit. Some people say to take some bile supplements, but I don't think you need to. I think that all we need is just a nutrient dense meat heavy diet and just loosen up on the fat if someone does experience that. The other thing is oxalate dumping. Yes, Dr. Kiltz. Oxalate dumping is something many people talk about, but again, when you go carnivore, depending on what you've eaten before, you might release some oxalates. I didn't experience that personally, but that is something that people can experience, and there is a way to deal with that as well.
I had a belly rash for about 4 months after I went carnivore. 2 or 3 nights ago, I had a very nice short conversation with Sally Norton. She's going to be in our channel in a few weeks.
Nice.
This is for Dr. Kiltz from Tard Nation. Will you go
Dr.
shirtless?
Nelson takes his shirt off, I'll take my shirt off.
Rena and I will keep our clothes on.
I'll keep my t-shirt on. Thank you.
Yes. Move on.
I think that has been our most popular video in the past few months, by the way.
Anytime Dr. Kiltz's shirt's off, those views are like through the roof. Okay.
Why wouldn't they be?
Cordelia, this is a question for me. When is the Syracuse meetup? It is September 20th. When I get home, we have to do the 20th.
Tickets?
What's that?
We start selling tickets?
No, I'm going to get the
we
next week.
We might have to look at the date, by the way, because Dr. Lisa Wiedemann needs to be there, and she can't make it that day. So we might relook at it. So it's coming. We got time.
Okay.
We have a little tweet time. I just found that out, by the way. So
yeah, we just found that out this weekend.
We'll look at it.
It'll either be in September or the first week of October then, because there's a lot of stuff already happening in September.
If you want to know about our meetups, where we're going to be, at least the Kiltz team, we're going to be, you can go to drkiltz.com. That's one place, or Dr. Kiltz Meetup, singular. KiltzMeetup.com. All their dates are there.
That's right. either the team or Dr. Kiltz will be there, or all of the above. All right. Eve has another question. Is raw meat quicker to digest?
I actually don't know. Dr. Kiltz. Yes?
Right. Because, well, it's in its natural form. It's what we evolved eating. And what other animal cooks meat? Cooks food? None. So I think our initial digestion is best in fatty raw meat, personally, and because the damage may damage the ability of our natural enzymes to break it down a little bit. But so I think it's a factor. But again, rare, it's overcooked is one of our biggest problems. But if you can get rare, even medium rare, if you're in the well done, okay, try some medium, kind of move into this and have little bites and get back to our ancestral way in some ways.
Yeah, and you don't have to do it all
kill
of
the
a sudden,
nutrients
like
in meat.
Rina had been saying. There's transition into it. If all your meat is well done, then go medium well, and then do it transitioning
Transition.
to it.
Yeah, I agree.
I find personally if I eat something that's well done, it takes more for me to digest that than if I am eating something medium or medium rare. Definitely takes more. I feel for hours not so good when I eat, overcooked meat.
And again, if you're not getting the benefits of a carnivore diet, you got to read Pottinger's Cats, and you have to begin to explore rare to raw. And again, it doesn't make sense to our brainwashing. But look do we need a cookbook or a kitchen to really feed on what we fed for thousands of years?
No.
Next
Here's
question.
the next question. Randy Bell. Should women up their fat when they're on their cycle?
Rina,
when they're on their cycle. Who's answering that one?
Rina.
You are.
Okay. I'm answering.
No, let Rina start.
Okay. I think yes. I think that, especially when you go into your cycle, you can have different stages of low energy. I tend to, if I have my cycle, or if I'm tired, if I'm overstressed, that's the time that I up my fat. And, eat fat liberally. Fat is for energy. Fat is for your hormones. So don't be afraid to eat more fat, and understand that your body goes through those ups and downs. It's not like a man. So one thing is to differentiate a woman on carnivore and a man on carnivore, because women can have those ups and downs, those cravings, more, I guess, sensitive to stress. And that's when you want to lean on the fat. And then usually if people increase their fat, they do see maybe their weight might increase, but that's just part and parcel of the lifestyle of carnivore. Usually the trend is a non-linear trend downward in your visceral fat, in your belly fat, and your fat overall. And you do put on some lean muscle if you're doing some resistance training. But around the time that you have your cycle, feel free to increase your fat. Anytime that you want to eat more fat, eat the fat, because if you're not eating carbohydrates, your energy comes from fat. Protein is a structural source, but your energy and your satisfaction from food, that feeling of fullness and I'm full, I'm done, that comes from fat.
I've been suggesting that glucose and carbohydrates are never our energy. They must be converted to fat in the liver via insulin for it to be energy. And sugars in general are glycosylating agents, which make proteins functional. So we're working to share a new thought and idea that maybe we don't go from burning sugar to burning fat, but the sugars turn out to be glycating, which is basically damaging every cell of our body. So the damage isn't in lack of ATP, it's damage to the nanomotors that create the function to every cell of our body, which again is way opposite. But I think you're right. Basically fat contains no poisons.
No, fat does not contain. That's totally right. You can eat as much fat as you want, and your body will actually self-regulate it. And I think that a lot of people, when they start carnivore, they get scared of, can I eat too much fat? The thing is, no, when you're transitioning to carnivore, because your body is crying out for nutrients, and that's the beauty of a carnivore diet. And being liberal with fat, and fat of your choice, if it's butter, ghee, lard, if it's the fat in the meat, that's all so important to stay on track with this lifestyle, because again, that's your energy source. That's what's going to make you not go back to the sugars and the carbs, basically, if you eat enough fat.
Okay.
We have a great
before I pop
question
up and
here.
ask a question, I need to say #primal in the chat, please, to get a chance to win a Kilts Cup today. You want me to read this one? JMJ. Okay. I had gastric sleeve surgery, and trying to get enough protein is truly a challenge. I have been using Prime protein powder to help. Do you think this is a good idea, or am I just wasting my money?
Protein powders. I spoke with, who was it? Dr. Donald Lehman, about protein. So this is where people are going to be conflicting in. You need to have protein, but then some people are pro fasters. Typically you need to have an amount of protein per day. If you've had gastric sleeve surgery, getting a nutrient dense diet is the utmost important thing. Usually when people have these types of surgeries, we'd recommend fatty ruminant meat. Just have smaller meals during the day. So if it's every 2 hours, every 3 hours, if you can't have 3 meals a day, that would be a point that you just want to eat those smaller meals. I mean, a Prime protein powder, I'm not against it. I don't think that you need to spend money on supplements, etc. But Prime protein powder, it tends to be not a whey, it tends to be a beef isolate powder. But if you eat whole unprocessed foods, you're going to get the most nutrient density and everything that you need out of the food. It's questionable and controversial, but protein powders tend to be classed as a processed food because there is process involved with the food. So
you're pulverizing the protein.
Yes. And that's the same as if you have rendered fat, or if you blitz something. Controversial again is ground beef. Is that a processed food? But basically what you want to do is to get the nutrient density out of foods. If you can eat smaller meals, that's better. If you find that the protein powder just helps you a little bit, that as your main protein source, because you can easily, like what it's showing, little bits of fatty meat, that's enough to keep you satiated.
Oops.
Well, I think the function of the stomach in a gastric sleeve, it's still a functional cells. You just have a smaller pouch. And I think we're just once again brainwashed. But I eat processed meat. I eat processed food, essentially, right? The cow processed this and made this for us, in essence. And we're doing all sorts of things. Is anyone really protein deficient, or are we either? Is that our problem at all?
We are nutrient deficient. So when it comes to the foods that we eat in it, we talk about protein and fat. That's just nutrients that our body needs. People are just eating ultra processed foods. This is the majority of people, maybe not those on this group, but people are just eating nutrient poor foods. So the question about protein powder, I mean, that's a in between. It's a gray area. But usually people are eating French fries or chocolates and chips and cookies, nutrient poor. So the thing again about carnivore, is it the protein? Is it the fat? The thing is that you're eating a nutrient dense diet, and that's what your body, every cell of your body needs nutrients to thrive. Your mitochondria needs nutrients to thrive. And there's also an argument that all this disease is coming from mitochondrial dysfunction, which is the energy cell. They call it nutrients. If it's functioning poor because of your pollution, or you're not exercising, or the food that you eat, these are all the things that causes disease. So carnivore is nutrient density, and that's what's important.
I always say the simplicity is we're poisoned by plants. Bingo. It's in essence, we're poisoned by plants, and we're eating a low-fat diet. would you say many carnivores are eating a low-fat diet?
No.
Well, but many carnivores, they eat chicken, fish, turkey. They buy mostly lean meat at the market, and they overcook their meat. So now it's essentially a low-fat diet. And so I think they need to be really cautious about that. I mean, butter, got to eat butter, a Bella SPG, and you have to ask the butcher for all the fat trimmings, and you could take that and grind it yourself and make your own hamburger, and add it to your leaner cuts of meat, free or really cheap fat trimmings, and buy the cheapest meat, and much of that is lean, and mix it together. What do you think about adding organ meats to that mix and adding organ meats to our diet?
Again, another controversial thing. If you ask one doctor, they'll say something. If you say another doctor, they'll say something. So generally, if you eat like a nutrient-dense diet with ruminant meats, you don't, and maybe nose to tail, maybe. I mean, to add in organs, it's not mandatory. It's not a must. I say for people, why don't you just try carnivore? Eat the fatty meat, as Dr. Kiltz is saying, eat the butter and the fat and the salt, see how you feel. And then sometimes people want to add, 2 to 3 ounces of organ meat per week. It's not much. See how you feel. But many people don't like organ meats. And I've seen a lot of success with people just, as you say, keep it simple, keep it fatty, and have faith as well. That's what you say. Faith, fasting, and fatty meat.
We sell an organ meat supplement and liver supplement for that very fact. And if you look at Schlank's book, Eat Meat 3 Times a Day, back in the 40s, it was published. The biggest thing is eat meat and add the organ meats to your diet. Even if you're on a standard diet, you're going to be healthier. For sure.
Is it better to eat seafood than buy iodine?
Okay, so iodine is a big topic on carnivore. When I do episodes on iodine, it gets a lot of interest and a lot of views. It just depends. I think that people should test if they're iodine deficient, because if you have iodine and you're not iodine deficient, you can get some side effects. But again, eating a wide variety of nutrient-dense foods. Oysters are great for iodine and minerals and zinc and all the rest of it. And having the ruminant meats. I think that you can get most of it from your food. Test for iodine deficiency if you have it, and then supplement if you need to.
Great. So we've got 4 minutes left, so I'm doing another call for #Primal in the chat to see who wins today's giveaway.
What is the giveaway? Here. What is the prize?
It's a Kiltsy cup. A Kiltsy cup like the one you have. Is that a Kiltsy cup?
This cup I made back in, oh my God, I can't read the date barely. 2002.
Wow. So they're like long lasting.
Oh, I've got some from the 70s.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Wow.
That's 50 plus years. All right.
Oh, yeah.
#Primal, please put your hashtag in. We want to give it away.
I think we have time for one more question. So let's see here.
Pick one.
2.
What's that? 2?
Go
ahead and pick 1 or 2.
Okay,
yeah.
Here we go. I have to read this and the next one. Okay. Question from Chuck. I have a friend who had parasites in the past because of long-term misdiagnosed. They are concerned about carnivore, but seem very interested. They also said that it raises pH, which increases parasite activity. With everything I know through experience, I don't see this happening. Any thoughts? Please. Thank you all.
Carnivore does not increase parasite. Yeah, it doesn't increase parasite activity. In any case, it's going to help your gut issues. So like it's going to kill any bacteria, fungi, parasites, all these different things if you follow a carnivore lifestyle. And the thing about pH is quite interesting because people try to eat like alkaline foods because they think that if you eat alkaline foods, it's going to help with your gut or something. Your stomach is quite acidic. And so meat, what's the pH of meat? I actually don't know. I think it's slightly acidic. I'm not too sure. But anyway, this whole thing about pH and foods and everything is very complicated. And like it doesn't make sense, because even when you eat, swallow, and break down food, it actually goes through different pHs. So to actually have a food that's a green food that has a higher alkalinic pH does not make sense. Eat nutrient-dense foods.
Simple. Go next question.
One more. Well, I want to read this. Work says, I got to meet you guys at Meadstock this weekend. I learned so much and love talking to all three of you. You were so generous with your time. Oh,
I have a question. Question for Rina. So tell us a little bit about your travels around the world. Where are you from originally? I know you've been in Australia. What's going on in your life for all of us?
So a bit of a backstory. So my dad has dementia, frontal temporal dementia. So he's actually passing away. And I just recently went back to Australia just to see him. And that's really why I started this whole story. So maybe I should have said that at the beginning. But really it's for, again, my own health, but also seeing my dad declining so quickly. And as a side story, one doctor put him on a pill for Alzheimer's, and that fast forward his condition like by 10 years in the scope of 1 year. So now he can't walk, talk, take care of himself, and he's in an aged care facility. So before he got this bad, when I was in Australia, my husband at the time, he had a business overseas and he wanted to go overseas. I wasn't very sure because I had my job. This is prior to the podcast, prior to everything. I actually worked in medical. And then my dad said to me, go live your life. You know, this is when he could talk. He said, go with your husband. Back then he was my partner. Go live your life. And since then I've traveled over 14 different countries. Now I'm in Dubai. I have the honor of speaking with the awesome people like Dr. Kilt, having a carnival group and having the podcast. And it's really like taking control of your own health. And if we just all do that for ourselves, we can actually help at least one other person prevent a chronic disease like dementia.
What are your thoughts on the GLP-1s? I'm hearing a lot about them used for a lot of other diseases. Do you think that might be a slippery slope, that we're looking for the fast fix when there really is something ancient and natural to all of our lives?
I think so. I think there's many reasons why people might get chronic disease. Food is just one thing. Alcohol, inflammation, stress is a big thing that people don't talk about. You know, people have a stressful lifestyle, and in this modern world with social media, paying off mortgage, debt, having a job, all these different things, and kids, family, everything that you combine with a modern lifestyle, thing that people just don't talk about. So they want like quick fixes, and you know, people, they come to the carnivore diet for a quick fix, and it's not a quick fix. It can help you in the interim and very quickly, but this is to embrace the lifestyle of a meat-centric heavy diet, and that's what's going to ultimately fix you. And I love what you say, Dr. Kiltz, which is not just meat, not just having a low stress lifestyle, but faith. Faith in something bigger than you is so important, because we're not alone. And, you know, people have different faiths and feelings about that. But just to understand that you have a purpose in your life, and health is a central part of that if you want to live your purpose.
And I think community is a big purpose. And tell us a little bit about your community and where people can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me, my carnivore community is called Go Carnivore. So we do have amazing doctors like Dr. Kiltz that join us every week to answer medical questions. We also have challenges. So this challenge coming up in June is going to be the salt challenge, just to make sure that people are having enough salt. But it's really to motivate and to support people on carnivore. Yes. I also have the Primal podcast available on all social avenues, on YouTube, Spotify, on Apple Podcast as well. That's called the Primal Podcast. And yeah, just living my best life and helping people get their best health with hopefully a carnivore lifestyle.
Awesome. Who's the winner today? Let's hit it.
Let's see who the winner is.
Awesome.
Jamie J. Yay!
Congratulations.
Email me, alia@drkiltz.com. Woo!
Rina, it's really
I
a
will send all
pleasure.
of the backlog gifts in the next couple days.
Awesome. Rina, it's a pleasure to have you on once again. We love what you're doing. And we appreciate your honesty, integrity, and passion to be here. And I believe that we do not need doctors to give this advice around the globe, because each and every one of you are your own healthcare practitioner and doctor. And through the Primal Podcasts and so many other amazing people who are passionate about helping us heal, we're going to come together arm in arm in a lifestyle. Again, if you're keto, carnivore, whether you're vegan, vegetarian, Mediterranean, but it doesn't matter. We're doing something that's going to be healing each other around the globe. So we are not on tonight. Are we on tonight, or are we going to find someone? What are we going to do?
We're going to try to find someone.
All right, cool.
We might not
But all
be.
of
We
us are
might
going to be
not
on a
be
plane tonight.
at the Zoom call. All three of us are going to be in the air.
Oh, exciting.
All right, a pleasure, Rina. God bless you. I look forward. I got to come. I'm actually looking at coming to Dubai.
Oh my God, call me.
All right, if we're going to do a one-on-one together. All right.
I love that. Anytime.
That's awesome.
All right, cool. All right, all. God bless you.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.